To be a Nyxari is to hunger, to balance on the edge of shadow and oblivion. Valen knows this better than most. Every flicker of light he consumes is a choice, a sacrifice that deepens the void within him. He has seen what happens to those who take too much. He has fought them. He has almost become them. The whispers tell him it's inevitable, that the void is patient, but Valen still fights, not just against the darkness, but against himself, because if he stops, if he listens too long, the next whisper might not be a warning, it might be a welcome. You are listening to the final reworking of one of the species from the first edition of the Fantasy Creature Contest. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll leave you a link in the description. In a nutshell, together with my community, I created a large number of fantasy or science fiction creatures. It is a creative effort aimed, despite its name, at encouraging sharing rather than competition. You can find a written version of this species on my website, www.francescogozzo.com, if you want to read the details at your leisure. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the other creatures and the grand tournament, during which we will choose our favorite. Also, if you want to actively support the channel, you can do so through Patreon or by purchasing some of my books on Amazon, links in the description. Chapter 1 – Introduction. Presentation. The Nyxari are elusive shadow dwellers who embody the eternal struggle between light and darkness, threading a fragile line between survival and destruction. Some see them as harbingers of doom, others as guardians of twilight, yet all agree they are a testament to resilience, the consequence of imbalance, and the enduring power of choice. They survive by consuming light, transforming it into energy that fuels their ability to swim through shadows and teleport across vast distances. These allow them to evade threats and reach hidden places, but their feeding leaves regions colder and dimmer, drained of vitality. Such void-tainted zones often lure dangerous entities from beyond reality, compelling the Nyxari to balance their need for sustenance with the peril it brings. Physical appearance. The Nyxari possess an otherworldly elegance shaped by their life in the twilight. Their forms are lean and fluid, with skin tones ranging from deep midnight hues to pale silvers that seems to drink in light. Subtle, shifting patterns ripple across their skin like moving shadows, sometimes revealing faint constellations or void-like swirls. Their eyes glow faintly, cool whites, muted violets, or eerie blues, illuminating the darkness around them just enough to hint at their presence. Hair, when present, flow like strands of ink or smoke, moving as if steered by an unseen current. Chapter 2 – Traits and Mechanics. Abilities. The Nyxari's defining power is their ability to swim through darkness, teleporting instantly between areas of connected darkness. They can consume light to fuel this magic, though doing so risks environmental void-tainted. Skilled Nyxari practices shadow binding, creating sentient guardians or tools from condensed darkness, and light weaving, purifying corrupted spaces with radiant glyphs. Some wield shade-forged weapons or void-light powered devices, allowing them to manipulate the battlefield through sudden skies, barrier of darkness, or controlled burst of radiant energy. Languages. Nyxari speak Nyxalis, a fluid, almost melodic tongue that blends whispered tones with harmonic undertones, making it unsettling yet strangely beautiful to non-speakers. Subspecies. The void-touched. Among the Nyxari, those who consume excessive light or fall too deeply under the void's influence transform into the void-touched. ethereal shadows bound more to the void than the material world. Stripped of physical form, they gain unparalleled teleportation abilities and a profound connection to the void, but at the cost of their sanity, plagued by constant whispers of the abyss. Many succumb to madness, serving the void-born horrors that haunt existence, becoming feared harbingers of destruction. Within Nyxari society, the void-touched are both revered for their immense power and pitied for their loss of self, viewed by some as tragic downfall and by others as the ultimate form of transcendence. Chapter 3: Culture and Traditions. Society. The Nyxari's Master of Darkness shapes their cities, tools, and weapons, creating a civilization seamlessly integrated with shadows. Their void cities, hidden in twilight zones or deep subterranean labyrinths, are ever-shifting settlements where structures ripple like living shadows and entrances lies concealed in pools of darkness. To sustain themselves without devastating their surroundings, the Nyxari use light traps, devices that capture and store ambient light, enabling controlled feeding and reducing the risk of attracting void-born horrors. In battle, they wield shade-forged weapons, crafted from condensed shadows and imbued with the innate teleportation magic, allowing sudden strike from unseen angles, vanishing retreats, or the creation of temporary barriers of darkness. Psychology and personality. The Nyxari are often perceived as stoic and deliberate, their calm demeanor masking an undercurrent of constant vigilance. They are shaped by the tension between light and shadows, which foster a deep awareness of consequence and a tendency toward calculated actions rather than impulse. Many are driven by a quiet fatalism, accepting that corruption and loss are inevitable, but this is tempered by an enduring will to preserve balance for as long as possible. In conversation, they favor measured words and layered meanings, rarely speaking plainly, and their movements are precise, almost ritualistic. Values and philosophy. The Nyxari's bond with the void shapes both their culture and their conflicts. Remote void sanctuaries serve as havens for void-touched Nyxari, where some find the discipline to restrain their corruption, while others succumb entirely to the void's pull. As this influence deepens, it manifests in corruption marks, glowing scars, shadow-like tendrils, or warped features, viewed with shame by traditionalist shadow keepers, but embraced as symbols of power by radical void seekers. Underpinning these tensions are the prophecies of Twilight's end, ancient warnings that foretell a collapse of light-dark balance, leading either to the Nyxari extinctions or the void's total domination. Factions. The Nyxari are split between two opposite factions whose beliefs shape their governments and the way of life. The Shadow Keepers seeks to preserve harmony between light and darkness, enforcing strict law and rituals to regulate light consumption and protect their fragile environment from void incursions. They see their powers as a sacred duty tied to the survival of their world. Opposing them, the Void Seekers embrace the Void's corruptive influence, believing that surrendering to it and becoming Void-touched offered the path to ultimate freedom and power. Their reckless pursuit of this transformation often brings them into direct conflict with the Shadow Keepers, threatening the balance that sustains Nyxari society. Rituals and celebrations. The Nyxari's traditions embody their constant struggle to balance light and darkness. The eclipse rite, held during rare solar or lunar eclipse, united the Nyxari in harmonizing their energies and reaffirming their bonds to twilight. The Feast of Shadows is a carefully supervised communal feeding, both a safeguard against excess and a celebration of unity and survival. More introspective is the Void Vigil, a solitary meditation on one's own shadow in which the Nyxari confront the void within. a personal trial of willpower and control, especially for those who fear corruption. Arts. Nyxari art is steeped in symbolism and serves as both spiritual expression and cultural memory. Their most celebrated forms include flowing shadow dances performed against shifting pools of light, void sculpture carved from condensed darkness, and haunting choral harmonies that mimic the cadence of twilight winds. Recurring motif often depict eclipses, flowing rivers of shadows, or the delicate thread between two extremes. Every piece is infused with layered meaning, spiritual, historical, or prophetic, making Nyxari art both a teaching tool and a form of sacred ritual. Education. Knowledge among Nyxari is transmitted through twilight circles, communal gatherings where elders and adepts weave history, philosophy, and magic into interactive storytelling. Written records exist, but often encoded in shadow glyph that require a specific interplay of light and dark to reveal, ensuring sensitive knowledge remain hidden from outsiders. There are no formal schools, but certain castes such as light weavers and void whisperers guard specialized skill and train apprentices in secluded sanctuaries. Practical survival skills, shadow manipulation, and the ethics of balance are taught from childhood, ensuring every Nyxari understands both the gift and the danger of their nature. Chapter 4. Relationships and Interactions. Relationship with other species. The Nyxari's dual role as both preservers and consumers of light shape their complex relationship with other races. To many who dwell in Twilight Realm, they are guardians of Twilight, trusted protectors and navigators of liminal spaces. Lightborn races, however, often mistrust them, associating the Nyxari with void corruption and the dimming of sacred places. Meanwhile, the Nyxari frequently ally with the forgotten, exiles and outcasts, offering sanctuary in the Shadows realms and forging solidarity with those who share their battles against hostile forces. Chapter 5. History and Mythology. Origins. The Nyxari originated from a cataclysmic convergence between their Twilight Realm and a lightless shadow dimension, an event that fused their essence with the void and granted them ability to draw energy from light and traverse overlapping planes of reality. In their early history, they thrived in harmony with the dim Twilight Zone, maintaining a delicate balance between light and shadows. Over time, however, their growing dependence on light fueled the spread of void energy, inviting dark and destructive forces into their world. This gradual corruption not only altered their biology, but also fractured their unity of their once cohesive culture. Chronicles and Wars. The Nyxari's history is marked by a cataclysmic convergence between their Twilight Realm and a Shadow Dimension, which forever altered their nature and sparked internal divisions. This event led to wars between factions striving either to perceive balance or embrace the Void's corruption power. Legendary figures like the prophetess Lyris, who first mastered shadowbinding, and the martyr Kyle Thar, who sacrificed himself to seal a void breach, are revered across Nyxari culture. Legends and symbols. Central to Nyxari ethos are tales of the first eclipse, a creation myth recounting how the world's twilight was born from the union of shadows and light. Moral parables often warn against greed and excess, illustrating the danger of succumbing to void corruption. Sacred objects include the Eclipse Shard, a crystalline relic that holds the essence of twilight balance, and the Shadowbinder's Seal, a symbol worn by those who have mastered shadowbinding. Their iconography frequently featured eclipses, crescent moons, and interwoven light and shadow patterns, representing harmony amidst duality. Chapter 6. Magic and Technology. Magic and Knowledge. The Nyxari wield a powerful magic rooted in their mastery of light and shadows. Through shadowbinding, they can shape the essence of shadows into tangible forms, creating guardians, scouts, or tools that shift between solid and intangible states. This art demands precision, as an improperly bound shadow risks succumbing to void corruption. Complementing this is their practice of light-weaving rituals, in which they harmonize with twilight energies to purify void-tainted areas. By weaving captured light into radiant glyphs, they form protective barriers or unleash cleansing bursts of energy, a technique often used in void sanctuaries to help the void touch regain control. Technology and innovation. The Nyxari employed void light amplifiers, ingenious fusions of magic and technology that transforms consumed light into concentrated stable energy. This refined power sustains shadow-forged tools, fortifies shadow-drenched structures, and supports other vital functions of their society. By stabilizing and storing the energy, void light amplifiers reduce the dangers of overconsumptions, offering the Nyxari a sustainable means of harnessing their light-dependent abilities without inviting excessive void corruption. Chapter 7. Religion and Divinity. Beliefs. The Nyxari hold a deeply spiritual view of the void and twilight, seeing those forces not as gods in the traditional sense, but as primal, almost sentient cosmic powers that shape existence. Most Nyxari are believers in those forces' profound influence, though their spirituality is more animistic and abstract than structural religion. They neither follow a strict monotheistic nor polytheistic system. Instead, their belief centers on maintaining balance between light and darkness as a sacred duty. While they respect other pantheons, the Nyxari remain wary of external gods, seeing many as either indifferent or hostile to the delicate twilight realm they inhabit. Their deities, or rather cosmic entities, manifest indirectly through natural phenomena, rites and prophecies, influencing their lives through the ever-present tension between preservation and corruption. Pantheon. The Nyxari revere a pantheon of cosmic forces embodied as ethereal entities rather than anthropomorphic gods. The Eclipsed One represent the unity of light and darkness, symbolizing balance and transition. The Whispering Void embodies the chaotic, corrupting power of the void, both feared and represent as a test of will and resilience. The Twilight Warden is seen as a protector spirit who guides the Nyxari in harnessing shadows without succumbing to madness. Chapter 8. Adventurers. Motivations. Nyxari often become adventurers driven by a desire to restore or maintain balance between light and darkness, seeking artifact or knowledge to control the void's influence. Some are motivated by curiosity about the wider world beyond their shadow realm, while others pursue power through embracing or mastering void corruption. Many are on personal questions to redeem void-touched kin or to prevent prophesied disasters tied to the Twilight's collapse. Chapter 9. Narrative Archetypes. Conflicts and Dramas. Internally, Nyxari grapple with the ideological rifts between the Shadow Keepers, who preserve balance, and the Void Seekers, who embrace corruption. Family and faction rivalries over power and philosophy are common. Externally, they face persecution by light-worshipping societies, territorial encroachments, and threats from void-born horrors. Spiritually, they confront crises of faith tied to the void's seductive power and the fear of losing their identity to corruption. Themes. Nyxari stories often explore themes of balance versus excess, light versus shadows, and the cost of survival amid forces beyond control. Their narratives delves into the tension between self-preservation and sacrifice, the struggle for identity amidst corruption, and the hope found in resilience despite darkness. Chapter 10. Narrative Applications. Plot Ideas. Nyxari-centered plot often revolves around the delicate balance of light and shadow. Conflicts could include a rebellion between Shadow Keepers and Void Seekers, threatening to tear their society apart, or the urgent quest for a lost artifact capable of stabilizing the Void's influence before Twilight collapses entirely. They can be protagonists striving to prevent the Void invasion, mysterious allies guiding heroes through Shadowed Realm, or antagonists whose embrace of corruption bring catastrophe. Their ambiguous morality and shadow powers make them perfect for stories of intrigue, redemption, or tragedy. Interesting settings. A quintessential Nyxari locale is the Veil-Shade Labyrinth, a sprawling, ever-shifting void city hidden deep within the Twilight Zones. Its architecture seems to flow like liquid shadow, with entrances concealed in pools of darkness. Iconic characters. Key Nyxari figures include Celira, the Twilight Oracle and a revered Shadowkeeper leader, whose glowing Twilight's eyes and calm wisdom guide our people through turbulent times. Vorath, the Void-born warlord and former Void-touched, whose flickering, corrupted form embodies the destructive allure of the Void and fuels conflict between factions. And Lissa, the pragmatic keeper of light traps, who blend magic and technology to control light consumption and protect Nyxari settlements, often acting as a mediator striving to maintain fragile harmony among her divided people. And that's all for now. There are certainly some details we can perfect, aspects to expand, and I would like to write a short story for each of these creatures. I'll see what to do in the future, but in the meantime, I can't wait to kick off the grand tournament!